God.
I'm always just thrilled to see your work because you try new things, you always experiment, and I was very curious with the ideas of these demon people, these people that are outside in this world. I thought it was really effective with the black and white to use these glowing faces. Was that all After Effects, or is that practical?
Yes, that was all. We filmed in color and then discovered it and premiered it black and white. I always wanted. Obviously it goes from black and white to color in a few shots, so I wanted it. I didn't want it all just black and white, but actually one movie I made that was shown here, Blood. I shot one segment in black and white, and I kind of just really liked how it looked. So I decided after that I wanted to do a whole movie in black and white. So that's kind of where the initial idea of doing the black and white came from. Was that first movie I made, Blood?
This character, this voice of this disturbed man.
Yes.
It was very. It reminded me of Sling Blade, obviously, but it was a unique choice, and with the old man rocking in the chair, and I'm wondering if. Because it does feel like the progression of the film is like the progression of thoughts of really like where the story should go.
Yeah, so it's funny you say Sling Blade, because this is the first thing everyone has said to me. I've actually never seen Sling Blade before. The initial idea for the character was evil Forrest Gump. That's what I was going. I just had this idea in my head about a horror movie about evil Forrest Gump. That was like Forrest Gump was crazy. That was the initial thought. But yeah, when I make my movies, when I come up with the ideas, it tends to be very abstract, believe it or not. It doesn't normally present itself in my head like a linear storyline or anything like that, just flashes of images. And so when I had kind of knew certain shots, certain images, certain things I wanted to happen, but a lot of it is very stream of consciousness when I write, and I don't want to say I write to those ideas, but I know that's going to appear somewhere, and that's kind of how it happens. So, that would, I'd say, be a little bit an accurate assessment of how it kind of progressed. It was a bit of a stream of consciousness when I was writing.
It's kind of like horror style Richard Foreman.
Yeah.
And it's weird because it almost feels like a lot of your films almost feel like a dark poetry. And I dig that, and I see you experimenting with new things every time. Was there something specifically that took you a long time to work out with this one?
Let me think about that. That's there are a few things that were a bit difficult. The makeup, it was nothing like too exciting, but like the makeup on the monster or the people, the aliens, ended up looking completely different than we initially planned, but then it ended up kind of working out in the end because when the way we edited it, their costumes are very different. Initially, I had the idea of having all the aliens be completely naked, but I couldn't get anyone who agreed. The hardest thing was finding the person to play the baby. I went through 6 different people. I could not find anyone who agreed to it. Multiple people said, "Yeah, I do it," and then when push came to shove those times, they're like, "I can't sit in a diaper and have you breastfeed me." And then, so we kind of got to the point where I was like, "All right, I have a green screen. I'm going to do it myself, and I'll green screen myself in as the character." And it'll be like this weird meta thing where he's like himself as the baby. I'm like, maybe that'll work, but then luckily we didn't have to do that because at the last minute, my cousin Dan was like, "Oh yeah, I'll totally do something crazy like that," and he came in and saved us for a day.
Does anyone have any questions? Because I'm very curious about how the audience.
That's called kissing cousins.
Yes, exactly.
Any questions? Yes, up front.
So, is the real world still going on somewhere out there?
So every time I've shown this movie, people ask me what's going on with the subtitles, what's actually happening, and I'm going to tell you this, and all I'm going to tell you is that all I'm going to tell you is that it's not random. Like what you're seeing, the subtitles stuff isn't random. There is more going on than what you're seeing, and I'm giving you hints. I'm not, however, going to tell you specifically what it is because I did that the first screen. Everyone was like, "What's going on? What's it mean?" And then I sat and I just blatantly, literally explained what's going on in the film, and it ruined it. Because when my friends in the back saw the movie, and we kind of had this conversation where she was asking me, "What does it mean?" And I said, "I don't want to tell you because I think what people come up in their own heads is actually more interesting than what I'm probably literally telling you. And she had come up with a thought of what she thought was going on in the film, and it was way more interesting than what I had in my mind initially. So I'm not going to literally tell you what's going on. You have to figure that out for yourself. And that's, I think, kind of what I want to do with this film is people sort of have to interpret it, what's going on for themselves. And I think that's kind of the point. Now, after having made it, I think that's sort of the point of a film like this.
I saw a hand in the back.
That was actually kind of my question as a filmmaker. When you make something this ambiguous, does it drive you nuts when people say, oh, I took it this way?
No.
I actually like that.
No, I love that. I love that. Like I said, I mean, people who have come up to me, like I said, it drove me nuts when everyone demanded I blatantly explain everything to them. Like that one time we did the screening, I had to come and be like, this is what everything is, this is who everyone is, this is what's actually going on. Because like I said, when people actually come up and they come up with their own ideas about what it is, like 9 out of 10 times when they're telling me what they come up with is way more interesting than what I had something very specific planned in my mind. It's what something very specific is happening, but what other people come up with is like way more interesting. To me, I really enjoy that a lot. Yes.
But you don't want it, or do you plan on making a film with a lot of ambiguities in it just for the sake of ambiguity? If that's the case, then the read on it that anybody has is ambiguous.
Yeah,
having specific intentions.
I mean, when I make a movie like this, my initial intention wasn't to, when I made the movie like this, I wasn't intending it to be hugely ambiguous. I wanted it to be like a puzzle where I'm giving you the pieces and you have to glue it together. Like I said, there was something very specific. So that was my intention, but then sort of what happened after I made it and people started watching it and they started coming up with their own things for it, then I'm like, well, that's kind of great. It wasn't my initial intention. I think for me, a lot of it when I do like with Solace 2, which is a film I had last year, is when I make films like this, it doesn't tend to be literal for me. It's more of a feeling. I'm going for evoking a feeling, and that's sort of the meaning of it. So, I mean, take it that with what you will, but I wouldn't necessarily say the point was to be ambiguous, but it does sort of end up that way. And like I said, I think there's enough clues in there that people can come to some kind of literal conclusion about what's going on, but I don't want to tell you what that is.
Man, I always love seeing your work. I want to talk more, obviously, see each other
Yeah.
at the festival, but
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming back.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And this is the very first screen.